Hey, there we are. Hey, folks. Thanks for tuning into the Banff Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Lafferty, and I'm here with the panel today to talk about all kinds of cool stuff, including superhero RPGs and new movies and all the fun stuff coming out of San Diego Comic-Con. First up, I got Mr. Eric Bloat. How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing awesome. How's it going, guys?
All right. Could you give yourself a brief introduction for those in our audience who might not be familiar with you?
Sure. I'm Eric from Bloat Games, which is a small independent RPG company. Most probably well known for our Survive This series of games, which we have like Survive This Zombies, Survive This Dark Places and Demigorgons, and now Survive This Vigilante City. So writer, publisher, all that good stuff.
Cool. Thank you very much for joining us today. Next to you in the Banff Studio Palace, we have Jacob Blackman. How you doing, Jacob?
Doing very well today. Thank you.
And you're going to be at Gen Con, correct?
Yes, surprisingly, a friend of mine, Larry Dixon, the famous author and artist, suffered an injury, and he is probably not going to make it, but his wife, Mercedes Lackey, still has obligations, and they called me to be the driver. So they're covering my room and expenses, so all I pretty much have to do is drive her up there and be her gopher. So if you're going to want to see me, I'll more than likely be at the Zombie Orpheus booth, which is number 100.
This sounds like a pitch for a really geeky Jason Statham comedy.
Oh my God! We gotta write this.
I'll see if I can get Misty to write that,
and see if we can get Jason Statham to star.
He's not picky. God love him. Nick Garber. Speaking of not picky, how you doing, Nick?
Doing good. How y'all doing?
All right. I'm drinking coffee too. Everybody's waking up this afternoon. And Nick runs Apogee Comics, which you've probably heard of. They publish many fine books, including Shadowhawk. So check them out.
Phantom Hawk.
Goddamn, what's wrong with me? Sorry.
Don't get us sued.
Sorry. Please don't sue us. We're pretty.
Please don't sue us.
Next to Nick is Walt Billiard. How you doing, Walt?
Good morning.
You just waking up there, big guy?
Oh, well, 14 hours on my feet overnight. Yeah, you gotta do it.
Zombie mode engaged.
Yes, because that is the way we do.
Okay. Hey, let's talk about, before I forget, the trailer came out for the new Titans live action show. Like yesterday, people are pissed off. Let's go with Jacob and Nick first, because I know you guys both seem to be invested in this. Nick, what do you think?
It was very dark. I'm still not sold on Jesus Christ, what's her name?
Starfire.
Beast Boy looked all right with the CGI green skin. Robin looked awesome, but he definitely acted a little out of character. People are all up in arms because he was, shooting guns and snapping necks, and I'm like, it kind of looks more like he broke the dude's jaw. And then the line that came out of it, for those that haven't seen it, they're like, the criminals were asking where Batman was, and he responds with "fuck Batman,"
which begs the question of who he wants to murder and marry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Batman, marry Catwoman, and kill the Joker.
Yeah. I've been waiting to use that joke for like a whole day. Sorry about that.
Hey, man, perfect setup right there. Yeah. The trailer's cool. Hawk and Dove in there looked amazing, which is a Ditko creation. Since we didn't get to talk about Ditko last time, so I'm just going to randomly throw in Ditko facts throughout the podcast.
Yeah, feel free, because I'm having trouble putting together that we want to do a big Ditko, Viking funeral, and I just can't get everyone to come together on that.
Yeah, and it was this week or last week I did a Ditko homage artistic piece. I put it in the group chat for this.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, it's beautiful piece.
I really can't wait to get it colored. I'd color it, but I'd screw it up. So I'm going to get one of my guys that are a lot better at the coloring thing to do that. But yeah,
you can say Art Monkey. Art Monkey is good.
Yeah,
you're going to get an Art Monkey.
Yeah, I got like 20 of them. I'm running like an art sweatshop. But yeah, the show looks good. It's worth giving a shot. The only thing I don't like is that I'm going to have to pay for another streaming service to check it out. But then they just announced at San Diego Comic-Con that Young Justice Season 3 is going to be released on that service also. So that kind of is sweetening the pot a little for me.
Jacob, how are you feeling about both the Young Justice 3, which I know you're a fan of, and that live-action Titans trailers? How do you feel about that stuff?
It's pretty much a mixed bag. It looks like they're going for the grim dark storytelling that they've been doing with things like Arrow recently, and especially the DC cinematic universe, which it doesn't really fit with the standard Teen Titans flavor, as they're usually a very upbeat team. If they were taking into the context of following Raven as the main character, I can see it, because she's got a lot of darkness about her, and I get that. But when you get things like Dick saying "fuck Batman," it's like it's a little out of character for him. Yeah, he might be in that point where he's angry with Batman, but he's never been the "I hate Batman, fuck Batman" kind of guy. Dick is usually the guy you look at for the upbeat kind of thing.
More Jason Todd.
Yeah, that's much more Jason Todd kind of view. So I'm going to take it with a grain of salt. I'm going to see where they start. Maybe it starts with everyone being angry, and then as they come together, maybe it gets better from there. But we'll see. As for Young Justice, I'm excited. I'm excited about the DC streaming service in general, because they've got a lot of shows planned. They get the Harley Quinn show, Swamp Thing. They just announced that there's going to be a Stargirl show. There's going to be a lot of programming. So
have they thrown the pricing out for that yet? How much?
It has like an annual price of $80.
That's not bad.
So it's not too bad in terms of a streaming service. So yeah, well, we'll see.
I'm just dreading the day when every show I want to see is on a different streaming service.
That is going to be an issue, yes.
Someone's going to come along. It's going to be $1 million idea. They're going to make a contract with all the other streaming service to have it funneled into one streaming service.
More than likely Roku, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm paying for HBO right now, and the only reason I'm doing that's for Game of Thrones. Yeah, it's great. The Rock has a TV show. Good for him. He's charming to watch for about 20 minutes, but I can live without that. But
the great thing is, because most of the payment policies are monthly, you can turn off the streaming. You turn off the streaming while Game of Thrones isn't running.
Which there's some long breaks there. Eric, did you see the trailer? What do you think?
I was really disappointed with the Titans trailer. Because I was very excited about the prospect of it. I've loved everything that the DC has done as far as with the Arrowverse and all that stuff on the CW. And so I thought I had high hopes for this, and Robin is near and dear. In fact, he's one of my all-time favorite characters. And so when I saw that, I was pretty disappointed. A good takeaway, I thought the girl who was playing Raven was doing a great job. I thought everybody looked the part, but just like with the DCE cinematic universe, it was just very much. I think they're missing the tone. They're trying to match a Christopher Nolan type tone, and not every character requires that type of dark and gritty stuff. Now, the Young Justice stuff, I'm super excited about. Big fan of season 1 and 2, and I'm so happy that they finally found a way to make a season 3. So.
Cool. Walt, did you have opinions on this?
The Titans one, not really. I mean, I don't know. It just seems like they're starting with a low budget, so it seems like they're trying to keep the money down until they see what kind of interest they have. But the other side of the coin is it just seems very dark and angry, and I think there's enough on TV that is dark and angry. So I for that, I don't know. It's not enough to make me get a whole streaming service, but Young Justice, I'm a huge fan. I love the comics. I love the show. And I think that for things like this, Clone Wars, the revival, which is supposed to be launching on a Disney Direct service.
Yeah, that trailer dropped.
Yeah, so for all of these direct to market services that you need a separate service for each one, this is why God invented Google Play or Amazon or all these other things. Usually 10 to 12 hours after the initial episode is aired, it drops on one of these services, and I can pick and choose it for $1.99, or I can pay $30 once for a whole season, and then I get the same content without having to worry about the streaming service. So, if they keep up with that model, which I seriously hope they do, then I'll definitely chase it that way. Otherwise, I can wait for it to hit disc, and I'll just get it on either disc or when they sell it on streaming. So I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a business model for every flavor and people who want that kind of stuff. Young Justice goes, yeah, you can. I'm going to find a way to watch it because I'm a huge fan. But as long as they don't keep the release model they had with the first seasons, because the way those shows were released was awful.
I'm sure with it being on its own service, it's going to, and not on Cartoon Network, they're going to have their own release.
Oh God, yeah, that was terrible. 2 episodes in a row, and then you don't have an episode for almost 6 months, and then they drop 2 a week. It's just like, it's like, what the hell is this?
That's some Firefly bullshit right there. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, Young Justice is one of those shows that can definitely show that fans have power, to voice their opinion, have it heard, and show that, hey, there's a market for this. You should bring it back. So like that, Lucifer, which my wife is a huge fan of. I'm a huge watcher, not as much as a fan as she is, but he looks better than I do. So, having that hit, I believe it's Netflix picked that one up. So, I mean, it's just really interesting time to be a fan because, you can have this positive impact on whatever your preferred geek is. The only downside is when that fandom turns negative, which is happening a lot with the Titans trailer. Friend of the podcast, Vito Del Sante, had very strong opinions on it.
And he hated it, or
he had mixed reactions about it. But his major reaction, he's a huge fan of Nightwing. So to see Robin portrayed the way he was greatly upset him. And he was very prolific in his response, including, declaring himself the #1 Nightwing fan in the world. So,
Rich Howard will probably beat him over the head for that.
Right?
Kevin Grayson might want to, fight him over that.
So
changed her last name to be Miss Grayson.
So yeah, I mean, it's going to be an interesting time to see these streaming services hit. So yeah, that's what I think.
All right, cool. So we all like the Clone Wars trailer.
Oh God, so good.
Yeah.
Cool. So Ant-Man and Wasp. That's the next up. Nick, Jacob, you guys have seen it?
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Nick went first last time. Jacob, you go first now. What'd you think about it?
Oh, after the sobering ending.
One sec. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Get the fuck out now. Okay. Go.
After the tear-jerking, sobering ending of Infinity War Part 1, Ant-Man and Wasp was a really nice light romp. It really helped clear one's head of all the sadness and angst of leaving the previous Marvel movie. So it was really good to just be able to laugh again at the characters, and I love what they do with the size alterations of literally everything. Because just the way they use size changing to fight, and for all their equipment, and it's just wonderful. Because it's even in the comics you don't get to see how incredible that power is, because they don't use it to that kind of degree in the comics. They just we get small and then we fight. They don't have these shifting back, shifting forward, getting big, getting small, all that. The alterations make the powers work.
As a comic book artist, that is a pain in the ass to depict.
Oh God, yes.
Yes. Drawing like really small. It's like, okay, where's the character? And then he shows up, and then there's like no in between. It'd be a lot of panels.
God, yeah. Oh yeah. It's something. It's something that needs the medium of a movie in order to show off.
Definitely.
But the story was good. I liked the story. The villain was excellent. Ghost, who is normally who's normally just a mercenary that was an Iron Man villain, had once again Marvel turned what is normally just a kind of their villain into an interesting character. So I was very pleased overall with Ant-Man and Wasp.
All right, cool. Nick, what'd you think?
I loved it. I was a huge fan of the first movie. I'm a big fan of heist films. This wasn't a heist film, but the first one was. Definitely made me a fan. It filled in a lot of the gaps of kind of like where the hell was Ant-Man during Infinity War. And it was a very fun film. It had a lot of comedy to it, but it wasn't overly comedic. I mean, you just kind of expect that from Paul Rudd and definitely his character. So, no, it was real fun. I liked Ghost. The ending was kind of, for me, I was like, okay, then why did we do this movie? But all in all, it was fun because when you get to the end, I mean, it's like, okay, well, we're not trying to stop her now. We're trying to help her. Okay. And now we're trying to protect her. Okay, that's cool. But it kind of just takes away from everything that they were going through. So I had trouble. It kind of confuses who the hell's the villain of the movie. It's not really a clear, concise villain. But I'm okay with that because the rest of the film was just amazing. And him having to deal with the ankle bracelet, had a lot of funny moments in it. And then the end credits scene, holy shit.
So what happens in the end credits scene?
Well, when you learn, like Jacob said, when you learn to laugh again after Infinity War, you're brought back to the sobering reality that half the fucking universe is gone. So he goes into the quantum realm to harvest quantum energy to help heal Ghost, and then he's ready to come out, and he's not getting a response, and you know why? Because the camera pans out, and you see the characters that were.
Pym and Hope and everyone have turned to ash.
Everyone had turned to ash and blown away. So that's going to be fun to see how he gets out of that. I'm kind of hoping there's an interaction with Hawkeye and him.
That would make sense, right?
Yeah.
That would be awesome because Hawkeye's got that whole straight man thing and he would be the comedy. Oh, that would be great.
You know, I because Hawkman, or Hawkeye, I mean Hawkman. Hawkeye, I always pictured that kind of like interaction between him and Ant-Man, where he would crack a joke and Hawkeye would just be like, "You ever get punched in the mouth for talking too much?" You know, something like that. But that would be. I think that's the direction they're going, and it'll probably not happen since Marvel likes to throw us curveballs and stuff like that. But it was really cool. The fight sequences were amazing. That's like they were saying before. You know, the small to large, and then the medium size because his suit wasn't working right. And then him getting super huge, and then just it was really cool. It was really cool. It had some interesting characters, and I just enjoyed it. The vehicle chase scenes in San Francisco were amazing, especially with the size differences.
You know, I remember. Oh, go ahead. I read recently that they're having trouble with comedy releases. A lot of them just go straight to streaming because they're not making the money they used to. And he said one of the reasons is they think the Marvel movies are kind of scratching the itch for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because they're action movies, but they're all action comedies.
Yeah, and I think that's what's so cool about them is that it's merged two genres, you know, and it's been that way for the last 10 years. I mean, it started even with Iron Man. So you get that comedic response, but you also get that action, and then you get the superhero element with it too.
Yeah.
Well, I think one of the issues with most comedy releases is people are realizing how formulaic they are.
Well, there have been a lot of bad comedies in the last 15 years or so.
Mostly starring Amy Schumer.
Yes. Oh my God. We were separated at birth. Dear God.
Yep. My brother from another mother.
So, but the point is you can make a movie funny without having the funny to be the point. Just and Marvel's proving that.
Yeah, it's a good model they got, and yeah, there've been a lot of bad rom-coms with Amy Schumer and other actresses.
I think it's because they're going more with a gross out or shock type humor. And, you know, I was watching Ghostbusters the other day, and it's not meant to be a comedy, but it is because it's very smart in the way it delivers its jokes.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and it's stuff like that. I think people got their taste of the shot comedy and the gross out comedy because it was new, and I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe they do that. And it was the things that we make jokes about in private, but now we're allowed to laugh out loud about this shit, and now we're all just kind of done with it. Like, okay, if that's all you got, I mean, you need to go back to the well. You need to go find a new well and go to that.
Yeah, I think what they should aim for, or what a lot of the series we enjoy do, is the everyday comedy. It's the the situation is serious, but people are still cracking jokes here and there because that's what you do to relieve the tension. Xander from Buffy.
Yeah.
Or Gonzo and Downs from Phantom Hawk.
Oh yeah, they're definitely the comic relief for that.
I'm not a fan. It's fine.
Not a fan. It's cool. Me either. I created the damn thing. Stupid.
All right. Well, hey, moving right along. Eric, let's talk about your game.
Awesome. Do you want me to just launch into like the 2-minute spiel, or?
Well, yeah, basically, go for it. Give us the elevator pitch.
All right. Survive This Vigilante City, the RPG, is an RPG that focuses on a very specific time period of superheroes and very specific type of superheroes. The game really started off as a love letter to Batman the Animated Series, which is I'm a huge Batman fan, and that is by far my favorite iteration of Batman. But then following the release of Batman the Animated Series and right around that time frame, there was also several other really good comic book related properties that were done in cartoon form. So you had like the Spider-Man of the 90s, you had the X-Men cartoon of the 90s, you had the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so what I did is I took all of those and made a gritty street level superhero game that's based on the old white box old D&D system, but uses some more modern mechanics as well that you'll find in like 5e. So I say it's white box meets 5e, and so there's no like Superman or no nobody's fighting the Beyonder or the Watcher or Galactus. This is more dealing with comical supervillains and gangsters and purse snatchers and things along those lines.
So more street level stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
And can you do Ant-Man with this?
You can do a version of Ant-Man. Yeah, it would be through the one of the mutant powers. You can either choose or do random mutant powers. And we have I believe it's a D100 chart of random mutant powers, and the ability to grow and shrink is on that list. So yeah, but there's not we don't have the scientific effect. So basically what it was is there was a character that we wanted, say a Spider-Man, but we didn't want to have to create a particular class that was bit by a spider. You can get Spider-Man's abilities by being a mutant, essentially. So that was kind of our catch-all class. And then, of course, there's anthropomorphs, there's cyborgs, mystics, scions, and then there's a ton of just normal classes where you just play humans in costumes. So,
can you tell us the difference about the core rules versus the villain book? Give us some insight.
All right. So the core rules, what that's going to be everything you need to play. It's going to have everything for character generation, everything for statting out your characters, everything for combat rules. It's going to have everything for your your equipment. Basically anything that you need to play is going to be in the core rule set. Now what the villain book is going to do is going to do several things. First off, it's going to start off with just some introductory information and some guidance for new GMs. So it's going to help out the new game masters. But then it's going to launch into a huge city builder with tons of random tables, and you can generate your own city to play in based on what you choose to incorporate and what you don't. And then you can roll randomly, and it'll take you as far as from block by block to suburb by suburb to the city. And then beyond that, we're going to have tons of adventure seeds, and these are done as kind of villains of the week. So we'll have a villain, and it'll be set out, and it'll have everything that the game master needs to read in 4 to 6 pages to be able to pick up and run an adventure for the week. Then further back, we're going to have just like stats for like if you run into a security guard, if you run into a cop, if you run into a purse snatcher, if you run into a cat burglar, if you run into a martial artist, so you just have a quick NPC already statted out stuff. Then there's going to be like an NPC generator. We also have a full adventure in there written by James M. Spawn of Barrel Rider Games.
Yeah.
James,
Sorry.
yeah, we know James. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's a good guy. So we got him included. Brandon Aiden of Wedding Games. He had a game called Wild Skies just a while back. He's also wrote a ton of stuff for Palladium and stuff. He was a stretch goal that was just unlocked this morning, and so he's going to be writing a mini setting called Anthropomorph Island. So it's just all kinds of really great stuff that people can use to add to their game. So, but everything you need, we specifically did put in the core rule book. So if that's all you want, there you go. But the Villains Guide is going to have a ton of really awesome and really useful stuff. Also, some people are going to be, some of the backers are going to be creating their own villains and vigilantes that will appear in the book. And then some of them are based on whatever tier they get. Some of them are even getting more original art by Runehammer, aka Brandish Skillhelm. He is the guy. He's known for the Index Card RPG. He's the artist who did all the art for both books.
Can you talk about the art a little? Because let me tell you, man, it's iconic. I mean, I immediately when I saw the cover of the book, when it popped up in a lot of the OSR feeds, I immediately thought Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah, I'm loving the work. You got the nice contrast of light and darks in there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, can you talk about it a little bit?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I was very fortunate. I'd started off as a fan of Runehammer. He has a YouTube channel. It used to be called Drunkens and Dragons. Now it's called Runehammer, which is the name of his game company. And
the name of his band.
and so I was a fan of his work and stuff. And then he came out with his own game, Index Card RPG, which if you haven't checked it out yet, I recommend everybody to check out. It's a brilliant way of playing like Dungeons and Dragons that streamlines everything. He's got really great principles that are astounding. But his art inside of that game just blew me away, just absolutely floored me. And so when it came time to do Survive This Vigilante City, I said, I want to get a unified look to my books. All my books that I've released so far have had multiple artists, which I always work hard to try to keep everything looking like it should be there, and that there's a uniform art to it. But it's not. You can still tell that there's different artists. And with this one, I really wanted to go with somebody, so I reached out to Runehammer. He and I struck up kind of a very quick friendship and a great working relationship. Basically, I would just tell him, say, I need a character like this, or I need, give me I want an otter that is like a mechanic that's anthropomorph. Can you do that? And everything that he would send over, he knocked out of the park. And then there's several things that he would send over, and he'd be like, what do you think about something like this being in the game? And those contributions got added to the game, because every time I was like, oh yes, we need that in the game. Yes, I want that to appear in the book. So it was great.
And not to put too fine up on it, but we say anthropomorphs, we're talking about Ninja Turtles, right?
Yes.
That whole kind of milieu.
Yeah. So there, if you're familiar with like the Palladium books, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle game from back in the late '80s, it's a lot along those lines of, you can be all kinds of different animals, but they're anthropomorphic animals that go on to be in our setting vigilantes. So very fun.
You guys are having some of that old time Kickstarter success. Your goal was 1,000, and you are closing in on 9,500 with a little over 2 days to go. Yes,
I am. I'm blown away and humbled. This has by far been our most popular. And we've unlocked, because we had such a low goal, we've been able to unlock a ton of stretch goals. So anybody who's jumping on and backing now, you're getting a ton of additional content. One of the reasons why I do Kickstarters is it allows small publishers like myself to generate enough funds to order in the quantities that it requires to make better books. So with some of our games, we'll release just print on demand, but like with this game, you're getting upgraded paper, you're getting upgraded, a full print run for both books. You're getting, just all kinds of stuff. Then we've been able to add additional art, additional content to the game. We've added a what we call our red box, which is a box set for Survive This Vigilante City. I grew up as a big fan of the Frank Mincer red box D&D. That's where I cut my teeth on Dungeons and Dragons and role playing. So we were able to add our red box, and yeah, it's been the success that we're having thanks to all of our backers is really making for not just a better product, but I mean just blowing us away here at Bloat Games.
Now some publishers I know have been talking lately about how Kickstarter's kind of lost some of its glory. But looking at the success you guys having, I gotta wonder, does this point to maybe the enthusiasm, the OSR movement, or did you guys just fit a niche, doing a high production value superhero game for OSR that hadn't really been scratched before?
To tell you the truth, there is I've heard those same kind of comments. We haven't had that issue with Bloat Games. There's a lot more competition on Kickstarter now, so I think that when people say that, it's because it used to be on Kickstarter you had the same general audience pool, but they were only buying for 3 or 4 different books at a time. And now you go on to Kickstarter, and it's still the same size audience pool, but there's now 11 or 12 books that they can bid on in any given month, and people are having to pick and choose, and so it's just getting a share of the market essentially. But no, if you're doing a great job, the guys from DIY Productions, they just released a Kickstarter. Or just did a Kickstarter, and I cannot think of the name of it right now. I think it's something City, Demon City, and in 2 days they're up over $30,000. So the money's out there that can be made. If you're making quality products, Kickstarter is still a great place. It's still a great avenue to try. You just gotta you gotta put in the effort and the homework to make the products that you want a success. So.
Oh, cool. And I mean, it looks like that's an OSR product too, right? Demon City.
That is. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, I saw Zach Smith's name, so I figured. So.
Now,
right, cool.
With your product, right? Because it's descended from white box with a little bit of flavor added in from 5e, does it still have the portability against publisher for publishers? If somebody wanted to publish an adventure or an NPC pack or something like that, could they do that for you?
Definitely, yeah. Actually, we that was one of the intents when we designed the game. I saw a lot of people on like Drive-Thru RPG and stuff. They would publish a lot of supplements for Icons and for Mutants and Masterminds, which I love both of those games. In fact, Steve Kinson is probably my favorite game designer that's currently designing stuff. And I saw a lot of people doing that, and that was one of the ideas. I wanted to be able to foster a community of people to do that. So we put out very early on that we're opening Vigilante City to third party publishing. We even got a logo out there. There's the standard licensing agreement, but there's they don't have to pay us to use it. They don't have to get our prior consent. It's going to be open to the public and available for them to build what they want, and then that just improves it even more for everybody who's a backer, because you're not just going to be waiting on Bloat Games to release additional products. There's going to be products coming from third-party publishers, from bloggers, from all over the place. So it's going to be great. I'm really excited and really looking forward to that portion of it.
I could see a Phantom Hawk hack of this done using this artist, kind of like just to cartoon it up a little bit. I think that would be really neat. And Phantom Hawk, just for anybody who doesn't know, the guy with the cool black T-shirt, that's his creation.
This guy.
Yeah, that's him.
Love me some Phantom Hawk. And he fit well, too, in that world.
Yeah, because you got that street level. And now one of the things that we were talking earlier, and we were talking about comedy relief, and in the Phantom Hawk series, there's two characters, two police officers, Gonzo and Downs. And they're and the great thing about Nick's books is the supporting cast are every bit as much as important as the heroic character. It's kind of like how you're seeing in Arrow now, or yeah, there they are. Oh, the sexiness.
I'll put a card in there for you too, Will.
Oh my God. Yes. I can't wait. But in Survive This, will you be able to create those supporting characters as well and play those as player characters?
Definitely. Well, there's a class that was originally one of the core classes. That was the protege, which is going to be the Robin type character. But then going beyond that, we also have is a person who is more like a team coordinator. If you're familiar with Batman, it's going to be like the Oracle type character. And then we got we got a hard-boiled detective who can be another like supporting type character for your game, and so and then plus with the some of the more I guess more standard heroic type classes, it also comes down to, with this being an OS Star game, how you play them, because those same characters classes could be played as a supporting role to a primary hero, and it's just all based on the actual role play of the group that you're playing with. So.
Nice. Yeah. I while we've been sitting here talking, I've been crazy schedule lately, but this hit my radar, and I was kind of stoked that you were coming on the show today. So I'm a backer now. So
and thank you so much.
I'm part of the party. So right on.
Awesome. I appreciate that very much.
I'm really wanting to do an Alfred the Butler campaign. Can you help me out? What kind of rules do you have to enable that?
There's going to be a Butler NPC class, but we might be able to squeeze something in, or I'll write up a personal class just for you.
Yes.
I want some rules for grouting the 7th bathroom and make sure I get the lobster bisque just right for when you I went to a weird place. I feel bad about that whole thing now. Sorry.
That would make a good comic, though, kind of like a Get Smart type deal where all the supporting cast are or like even Inspector Gadget, all the supporting cast are really actually the heroes doing the work, but the hero keeps getting all the credit. And they want it that way because, if everybody's focused on him, he's constantly the one getting the death threats and stuff like that. And, allows everybody else to I shouldn't have said that out loud. Now somebody's going to steal our idea.
Yeah, it's probably.
PvP Comics did that a few years ago. I don't know if you caught that. They had
no, I didn't.
They had a Batman character whose whole shtick was that he talked in memes. And, they had a whole series where he's fighting Double Rainbow Man and other internet themed villains. And at the end, you find out he's this rich guy's butler, and there's this ancient brotherhood of butlers of rich playboys defending the world from threats throughout history, and it's the perfect disguise working for an unattentive billionaire who doesn't notice when a few 100,000 goes missing. And so
that's fantastic.
You hadn't heard of it, so there's a lot of people probably missed that. So, and there's been no RPG about that I can think of. Closest I can think of is like one of those weird, like My Life with Master or Made RPGs. So
now with Survive This Vigilante City, you can now play that very game.
So Eric, I do a lot of third-party publisher products because it's a disease. I'm in therapy and I'm looking for some medication. But if I wanted to do Vigilante City products, where do I go to read what kind of legalese you got, and what's the story on all that?
Sure. Right now, it's actually, if you go to the Kickstarter, it's, I believe, post 5 or 6. You'll see the header for the thing. It'll say information about third-party publishing. That's where we drop all. That's where so far we've dropped all the stuff. Soon it'll be coming up on our website, bloatgames.com. It just hasn't been posted over to there yet. So right now, the only place to find it is in the updates for the Kickstarter. But
Okay,
yeah,
I
it's
can go do that.
standard OGL, and then I designed a logo
Yeah,
that says
yeah,
like, Vigilante City 3PP, so you can Vigilante
All right.
compatible is what it is. So
we should talk after this. Maybe you could maybe with some freelancers who could do convert some of my stuff over to your system.
okay.
But yeah, we can talk after the podcast. Speaking of podcasts, we should probably wrap up soon because I got to get back to work. We got any final slips we want to talk about? Closing thoughts? Anybody?
I got a couple of things.
All right.
Hit it.
I want to mention that the Superpowered Legends source book, which was on Kickstarter middle of last year, has now been released to the general public. I want to thank all my Kickstarter backers for helping make that a reality. This is going to be the first in its line. I'm sure I'll have a second one. Can't say if I'll have a third, but there will definitely be a second one eventually. But yeah, that one's been released. Otherwise, on the other side, we've got the all the characters are also being converted to the Icons superhero RPG, thanks to my friends at Fainting Goat Games.
Hi.
And there is a huge bundle on one bookshelf that's Drive-Thru RPG and RPG Now, where you can pick up all the currently available iconic legends for only $20. So it's over $100 worth of PDFs for a very cheap price.
Now, all these conversions or icons were done by Walt and myself. And in case there's the off chance we have any listeners who don't know what it is that you're doing, Iconic Legends and Superpower Legends is basically Marvel Universe. Different names, different outfits, but in case you need a character everyone knows, even if they haven't met him before.
Exactly. Yeah, because Green Ronin had pretty much taken care of all the DC characters. I thought, why not get some publications out there that with characters that look like Marvel, but all the file numbers have been, all the serial numbers have been filed off, and have got new artwork and different backgrounds, but otherwise the concept behind them is still very much the same. Mike Grendel, who is very much a Hulk type. He's big, he's strong, he's monstrous.
The new one you just released, We Make Holes in Teeth.
Yes. The Demolishers. They're very much based on the Wrecking Crew. So I hope people enjoy that one.
Cool. And they can find that now under Rogue Genius on RPG Now or Drive-Thru.
Yes, I can.
And it should be on sale right now because there's a Christmas and July sale.
Indeed.
So, all right, let's check that out. Jacob, I meant to mention that. Forgive me for spacing on that one.
No worries.
All right, cool. And got to head out. We will catch you all next time with the Banff Podcast.
Sweet.
Bye.